back and I'll die away. In short, this is what I have to say. Let us forget fights and grudges and concentrate. Come, let us sit and try to relate. Because now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation. So come, let us work hand in hand, because this is our land. Come, my brother, come, my sister, and let us build a nation together. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah,
Yes, indeed. Come, my brother, come, my sister. Let us build a nation together. That is the call. I can recall. So, the call, and I can recall last year, now so, we were about what? 1 month and a day or so before. No, it's even less than that. It was about 20 something days before the election. I think it was about 24 days. Was it 24? No. A month. Yeah. About a month. Yeah. It's about a month and a day before the election last year. Now so. And the place was hot. Hot, hot, hot. I think it was a rally. It was a rally or an endorsement. I think it was an endorsement of Dennis Cornwall. I think so. I think there was either a rally or some big event for Dennis Cornwall up in the north. All right. And people were all fired up and excited. I can't recall whether or not it was the last day for registration or 1 day before registration, because they actually gave Grenadians 1 month, I think, to wrap up, right? 1 month before the election, and they just call it and close the door on us. I think it was just 1 day for registration left. I think so. All right, but I could recall around that time, boy, the place was warm, really, really warm. Time passes quickly, but we are here and we are happy. I want to welcome you wherever you are. Maybe you're out there in the diaspora. Maybe you're here in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. All right. I tell you, I am still excited from yesterday. Very, very excited. We had a wonderful, wonderful event up there at Papa D's. Up there at Papa D's. All right. My good partner Rupert is saying, yes, you are correct, Kim. Yeah, could recall we, just before that, there was some big event. I remember, just 1 day before that month, up in St. Patrick. Yeah, boy, I tell you. And I remember doing a program on that day. Too. Just going down memory lane. I remember doing a program on that day, and I was speaking to the people in the diaspora.
Many months ago, you have your work cut out for you. Let me tell you again. You have your work cut out for you. Pick up that phone. Continue calling. Continue working with your people back here to make sure that they go out and vote on election day for Deacon Mitchell and the NDC. Remember, you persuaded them to register. Now is the time to bring home the bacon. Now is the time to make sure that what you started, you end it properly. You understand the point? So pick up the phone, work the phone, maintain that rapport, maintain that relationship with them to make sure that victory is secured come election day. Critical, very important, because if 10,000 Grenadian brothers and sisters in the diaspora pick up that phone and call their friends, their cousins, their aunts, their neighbors, and so on and so forth, right? What would happen? We would have 10,000 people speaking to 50,000 Grenadians to go out and vote on election day for Deacon Mitchell and the NDC. So we could do it. We got to walk that phone. Public officers, you may not be open to, well, you're not able to openly campaign to wear this jersey and so on, right? But you could walk the phone, campaign on the phone, speak to your friends, speak to your family members, persuade them to firstly go out early and vote on election day, right? Early o'clock. Don't just tell them you want them to vote. Make sure they go and vote on election day, right? We got to do that. It's hard work, but the victory goes sweet. The victory goes nice, right? Don't give up. I'm excited. I am super excited because I have experienced a number of elections in Grenada, and I have never seen it so nice for the NDC. This is NDC's moment. This is Deacon Mitchell's moment. It will happen. See, when the NNP and them having a meeting, they're looking still. Even the green and all of them looking still. Some of them wearing a band, the NNP green band. Even that and all looking still. Because you see, when change is about to happen, everything else becomes somewhat irrelevant and stale. And that is what we are seeing when it comes to NNP and even their color, their branding. You understand the point?
Right. So that was just a little flashback, you know, just a little flashback, because it was just about 1 month before the election. And so say, so done. It was NDC's moment. It was the Honorable Deacon Mitchell's moment, and the team, you know, that was really what people expected, right? Sometimes you see it and you just reflect, you look back. That was a program I did 1 month, just 1 month before, or just 1 month and 1 day before the election, calling on the people out there in the diaspora to do what they must do. And some people underestimate the role the people in the diaspora played in that election that gone. You played a significant role in bringing home the bacon, in making sure that the NDC win. And we are grateful. We are eternally grateful to you. I want to say, folks, at Papa D's last night in Maribor, it was just love. It was just niceness. And what was unique, not only did the Honorable Delma Thomas come over to the NDC and the team, the government, but we saw some key people who were very senior within the NNP there at that particular ceremony. And it speaks volumes, the amount of young people, young women who were there at that event. Look, NDC is on the right track. I could tell you further, what happened at Papa D's caused those NNP pundits to go back to the drawing table, to go back and remessage, for want of a better word here, because they had either they took a shot up pill this morning, or they just couldn't find a trend of thought this morning. They couldn't talk because they were in awe, and they're still in awe. They're still shocked. But there is more coming. There is more coming because Grenadians are now gravitating more and more to this team of men and women who understand how to govern, who understand how to bring prosperity to people, who understand how to transform a country, a community, a home. So Grenadians are more and more gravitating towards the NDC. And there are those who are around the NNP who are extremely uncomfortable with the conduct of Keith Mitchell and all the others within there. So more and more, they are gravitating to this team. And I have always been very tactical, very strategic in my approach because I understand politics to a T. Politics requires, from time to time, that you make a chessboard move. This is a chessboard move. You see, yesterday was a significant moment in the political history of Grenada. Not only that, after that event, a couple of us, ministers and so on, went to a good location to bounce a little drink and chill. And then there were two individuals there who key people within NNP, right? And they were there. I was able to bring them in. Let's drink, let's chat, let's hang out. Because that's the real thing here. It's not just being on radio or being on social media, but being able to strategically do certain things behind the scenes because it requires that. The NNP house is in disarray. It's a wreck. It's falling apart. They're fighting among themselves, and they are good people who want somewhere better, all right, to be and to be a part of a better thing, a better operation, a better agenda, and we welcome them, all right? We welcome them. I'm talking about the good people there. Don't believe you are good people there, Good people. We welcome them. And I am saying all of this so that the supporters of the NDC would understand the politics. The politics requires that. It requires strategy. It requires tact. It's not just you're in government and you're doing X and you're doing Y. You have to do more to build your organization, to gain the momentum and to maintain the momentum. That is what politics is all about. So again, continue trusting in us. Continue believing in us. Continue with your hope in us because, excuse me, from this end, I have never gotten it wrong yet. The NDC, come the next election, would get more seats than they have at this point in time. Come the next election, the NDC will get more seats than they have at this point in time. And we have to continue to organize ourselves within the different constituencies, put our structures together to make sure that we do the groundwork to guarantee that victory. Because what I realized in that room yesterday, we had a lot of young women who were in that room. And wherever you have women, you would find men. All right? I said so before. If you look at the NNP, it's a stale party. It's a party of some old folks who use up already. the NNP. In other words, the usefulness has reached to that end point. All right? They no longer have anything in them to give again. They're not creative again. That is what the NNP looks like. A bunch of old folks fighting among themselves. Right? Yeah. That's what it is. The NNP. The NNP is a wreck. It's a mess. And it's showing up every single day. Because people are now coming to realize that the NNP is not putting forward anything new, anything creative, anything innovative. So they're going around having meetings, and all they do is criticize, complain, curse this one, curse that one. That's how the NNP is functioning. But the NDC is bringing solutions to the table. The NDC is coming with innovative ideas and ways to fix things and build things and create stuff. That is what you want. NDC is the future, and the future starts now. NDC represents the future. So when you look at the NNP, all you need to do is just look at the bunch, all of them. It's just a set of old folks who retire, who beat up already. You know, they've been out there so long that they get stale, right? And I think that's the word here, stale. They look antique. They look derelict. That is what NNP looks like. They're not attracting anybody new. They're not able to attract no young person. They're not able to attract women. They're not able to attract fresh faces. The NNP is a done piece of thing, you know. But we must make sure that they're dead for good politically, that they're gone for good. We must bury them politically. Make sure that they never show their ugly head again in the future. So there are certain things that we need to do to guarantee that. We need to do certain things because they would be more desperate now. Remember, I told you they're acting like some political drakes. They will be even worse now that the Honorable Delma Thomas is on our side now, and quite a number of others are more or less in already. All right, they will be attacking them. They will be saying all kind of nastiness about them. But we have to defend them. We have to defend the party, defend the government, and defend them. That is what it is. Folks, I am saying to you, it is clear. The NNP is falling apart fast. And as a result, the level of desperation from their pundits, their surrogates, their goons, their zygotes, their sycophants, they will be extremely, extremely desperate. And they will say anything, do anything, invent all kind of stories, concoct a lot of stories, because that is what they do. They are very good at, coming up with some kind of fairy tale, some kind of story, some lie that they want you to believe. And what is important here, they tell it over and over and over again. I think they have some meeting this week in the South or wherever they're having it, the same lies that they tell in Vendome is the same lies they will tell in the South. The same lies they told in Paraclete is the same lies they will tell in the South. Because what they do, they put together, some talking points, right? Some talking points. And everywhere they go, they will talk about these things. So you expect them to go after Andy Williams. You expect this guy, you expect Keith Mitchell to say all manner of stuff about Andy. Why? Because Andy is working extremely hard and the people love him. He's always at it. He's not a talker. He's an action man. He wants good for his constituents and Grenada. You know, there is a joke going around. Somebody went to New York and they saw a pothole and they say, boy, if Andy was here, he would have fixed that pothole. Somebody again said, well, you know, I believe if a woman has a problem with her relationship, she will call Andy to fix it. That is the kind of love that people have for Andy Williams and the team. So Keith Mitchell will verbally attack this guy over and over and over with the hope that people are going to lose faith or trust in him. That's how he do it. That's how he does his stuff. That's how he does all this kind of tactics and strategies. And he will talk about that until thy kingdom come. But people more and more are understanding that what they're saying about Andy Williams regarding this Grenada Development Bank loan, people now know, they now understand that Andy is a Grenadian and he has a right to go in any bank in Grenada and apply for a loan. And once he meets the criteria and he has the assets and so on to back it up, then he should get that loan. He is a Grenadian, and a loan means that you have to pay back. It's not free money. It's not any free money. He has to pay back. And here it is. Andy's business should have been private, but in Grenada, once you're in the politics, nothing is private. People will leak your stuff for many reasons. But I say to people, what they did for Andy is phenomenal. They actually caused Andy Williams to be way more popular. What the enemy set out for bad or evil turned out to be good. Because people are saying, but wait, Andy's a Grenadian. He applied for a loan. He got the loan. What's your problem with that? And then people are now able to go back and say, but there is this call center fiasco where Keith Mitchell's cousin, right, was involved in a call center business. And that call center business went into some financial difficulties. And instead of that call center business going straight to the bank, they approached the Keith Mitchell-led administration. But remember, Keith Mitchell's cousin was involved in that call center business. So they approached the government, the Keith Mitchell-led administration, for $9 million. And the Keith Mitchell-led administration gave that call center business involving his cousin $9 million. Taxpayers' money. Taxpayers' money, $9 million. With the hope that they would get some return on it. But that was just a laugh. Then when they got that money, they decided, well, if we could get that money so easily, let us now approach a bank. The bank said, well, I can't give you that money because you're more or less in the red. So the bank say, if you could get a person or a company who have the money to sign saying if UN pay, they will pay, then we're going to give you the money. They approached the government. They approached the Keith Mitchell-led administration and asked that the government sign as the guarantor, saying to the bank, if that call center company involving Keith Mitchell's cousin, right? If that call center company doesn't pay, then the government and people of Grenada will pay. They got a $9 million again. So that's $18 million. And the company went bankrupt. bankrupt. Grenada lost all its money. We did not get 1 cent back. And then we discovered that the shares from Cable and Wireless, the government had shares in Cable and Wireless, worth some $4.5 million. That was also used to pay the debt that the call center company involving Keith Mitchell's cousin, that money from the proceeds from the dividend from the shares were used to pay Cable and Wireless because the company was owing Cable and Wireless that kind of money. So that money was also used up. So almost $23 million the government and people of Grenada, well, not just the government, but the people of Grenada lost that. Who was Prime Minister? Keith Mitchell. Who was in power? The NNP. It's amazing. So while Keith Mitchell is out there saying all kind of stuff about Andy Williams and Andy's, Andy's loan, he must know that we have his record, Keith Mitchell's record, and his party's record. And what you need to do is to ask him. I remember calling the GBN program some years back. Lou Smith was on, and I confronted him on that said matter. And Tutus went to see Lou Smith, right? I remember that vividly. I challenged him. And we must start challenging Keith Mitchell so that the Grenadian people will know, because he believes that people are going to forget his past, and he believes that if he repeats all kinds of stuff about Andy and Andy and Andy, then people are going to start asking all kind of, believing all kind of stuff. But people now know Andy took a legitimate loan in the bank, a legitimate loan in the bank. He did not borrow anything from anybody, or he did not steal. He did not do anything wrong. He did not do anything wrong. So they would go in all these little meetings that the NNP is having, and that is what they will talk about. They would also talk about this David Cameron grant money. David Cameron came in the Caribbean. He was the prime minister at the time of the United Kingdom. He came to the Caribbean. He visited Jamaica and Grenada in 2015, 2015. That's about 8 years ago. NDC only came into power about 11 months ago. Almost 8 years ago. NNP was in power out of that 8 years. NNP was in power for 7 out of that 8 years, 7 years and about 1 month, right? Out of that 8 years or so. I am saying to you, NNP is out there blaming NDC for this grant aid that they claim we lost, all right? And if you ask NNP, what did you do when you were there, when that money was available? What did you do to get that money to build drains, to build roads, to build schools and that kind of stuff, to improve the infrastructure in the country? What did you do? They did nothing. But not only that, I did a research and I realized that nearly all the countries who are supposed to benefit from that money did not benefit from it. So something is wrong besides just Grenada not getting access to that money. I did some research and it shows that that the other islands, they were not able to draw down from that money that David Cameron promised. All right? So something seemed to be wrong besides just Grenada not being able to access it. But I am still saying, you're out there in your meetings trying to blame the NDC for this money that they claim, this grant money that they claim that we didn't get, or we lost it, or whatever they claim. But we are asking you, what did you do? The NNP was in power for 7 out of that 8 years since this guy came. What did you do to make sure that we get access to that money? And that's something that we need to ask, challenge Keith Mitchell and challenge Gregory Bowen and all of them, because they're going around giving people the impression that, this is the case. We need to start challenging them. Then they would talk, when they go to these meetings, about people losing their jobs. Folks, when you have a change in government in any part of the world, there will be political appointees. There will be people who are known political activists and so on of the party who may go home when the contract ends. It is simple like that. That's the normal thing. When the NNP came into power in 2013, a lot of people who supported the NDC, they lost their jobs. They lost their work. They lost their contracts. They didn't cry about it. They didn't cry and scream and bawl and groan and so on about it. But now they're out there talking about who lost their contract. And they're speaking specifically to this guy, a known NNP activist, who has about 4 contracts with government, right? Security contracts. And he's a known NNP activist. His contract will expire come the end of May, this month. And they know that, right? So there are some people who are employed with him, and they're trying to give you the impression that, something grand happened. No. He got those contracts from people who had it before, and NDC people. I'm talking about NDC, known NDC supporters. They had the contracts. And when the NNP administration was in power, they took it away from them. It's what it is. And the people who were working with them had to go home. Had to that's a normal thing. Right? So don't make them give you this impression that it's the first time this thing is happening, and let us cry for them, let us pity them. No. And this guy operates this security company from his vehicle. He doesn't have any staff, any office, anything of that sort. And he takes advantage of his workers. He exploits them. I'm telling you, he doesn't pay them for their holiday and that kind of stuff. And when they work with him for all the years, they don't have nothing to get. Nothing to get. I tell you this, I know. And I know what I'm talking about. So let them cry. Let them scream. Let them bawl. At the end of the day, they miss what they had. You see some of them? I see some of them guys who used to play ting. Right now, they're nothing. I could call some of the names. They're nothing. You go wrong and you check them out. They used to play big boy and big this and big that. The minute time NNP's out of power, they're out of power too. And that must be clear. So we need to encourage the NDC to keep doing what you're doing. We're loving it. We're loving it. And kind of speed it up, because you have a lot of them who still there enjoying X, Y, and Z. Let's speed it up. Let them call. Let them cry. Let them bawl. So what? Let them bawl. We're going to get other people to do what they're supposed to do. It is simple like that. All right? Your party lose, you still win. Your party win, you still win. So what, you're playing bright? You alone have to survive? You alone have to eat? Nah. Do what you have to do. The NDC is doing a fantastic job. Continue. And they're not making anybody go. Your contract ends. It is up to the government to renew it. Let them go on their program and cry and bawl. In fact, yesterday, on my way up to Papa D's, I take a listen to this guy whose contract was not renewed, and he came out and cried like a little girl. Remember? He was what, a psychologist or something? What? Some kind of work he had. He cried like a little girl, you know? And saying that his victimization and so on. Look at where he is now. Look at where the individual is now. You tell me. He's on radio bumping his gum for the NNP. So don't worry them. When the government does what it's supposed to do, we need to support them. This guy, I remember, he did a whole press conference crying like a little girl, like a little shishi or a little shibara. You understand the point? The guy cried. He wanted people to feel sorry for him. And I said, don't feel sorry for him. And look at him now. He's on radio, running down government, bumping his gum, saying all manner of nastiness about the government. And then you have the usual piece of thing and them there in the background, talking all kind of rubbish. So the NDC must continue to do what they're doing. Because, remember, these guys were eating a real good food. And they came in under the NNP and they got all kind of big work. Now is the time to level the playing field. Yes, all of us, we are Grenadians. Yes, all of us have to eat. But remember, the NDC folks were left out for 10 years straight. 10 years straight. They were not getting anything. When the NDC people asked for a road walk, they did not get. They were giving the NNP people and the contract and everything. That is what they were doing. Don't fool yourself. So yes, everybody go get something, but we have to level the playing field. We have to make sure that our people get the opportunities too. That's what politics is. All right? We go level, we go help this, we go help that. All right? We understand all of that. But at the end of the day, let them cry. You have some of these people, they're crying, so they go to all these meetings and pretty much the same thing they talk about. Then they will talk about the poor relief assistance. They always like to talk about the poor and the vulnerable. Let me tell you this, poor and vulnerable, they want to keep the people poor and vulnerable. The NNP doesn't like the poor people because look at Keith Mitchell, for example. This man has $19 million. Some people claim that he put the 1 before the 9. I don't know. He said he has $19 million. He has $19 million. What's about his supporters? What's about the people, the poor and the vulnerable people that he preaches so much about? What has he done for them? Think about it. Just take a moment and think about it. Keith Mitchell has $19 million. His supporters don't even have 19,000. The majority of them, right? But he preaches about the poor and the vulnerable. But check it out. The poor relief assistance was $450. The NNP never put a budget in place for that temporary $150 that they added to the poor relief assistance. It was election time, election gimmick. So as a result, they added that $150 to give these people the impression that they love them and that they care about them, but they don't care about them. And mind you, it was a boogie trap that they set up. They set up some traps with the hope that they will have talking points for a long time. But I say to people, think about it. If they love them so much, why didn't they budget some money for these people so that they can get the $450? They did not. They put a temporary thing in place. Temporary. So they out there bawling and screaming about $450. And now it's $300. It's no longer $450. That's what they out there talking about. But you ask them, but why Keith can take 1 or 2 million that he has and give to people or help people. You ever hear Keith Mitchell name calling anything as it relates to taking his personal money and resources and do anything for anybody? Yes, you hear about a foundation. The question you have to ask yourself, you think is his money? Like, in other words, he put in his $19 million in there or $2 million in there as a foundation? No. People put in and given. Maybe he might put a little thing, nothing significant. I know Keith Mitchell. I know that guy. He doesn't take his money and help in like quite a number of other people what they would do. No. And mind you, this guy's pension, Keith Mitchell's pension, is huge. He gets a huge pension. So all he's talking about the poor and the vulnerable and the poor and the vulnerable, he likes to keep you poor and he likes to keep the people vulnerable. And that's a fact. He doesn't like to see you move to the next level. No, look at the people around him. Just check it out. It's amazing. But one must talk about it because they keep talking about the poor and the poor and the poor. Look at the people who they're talking about. This was that one of a contract, right? That one of a contract, and they lost their contract and so on. Okay, why didn't you make them permanent? That's the question. Why didn't you make them permanent? If you care so much about the poor and the vulnerable and so on, why the NNP didn't make these people permanent? They want the NDC to come and just make everybody permanent. And mind you, they're talking about it. So everywhere they go, they talk about these things. Contract this and contract that. And then you need to ask them, but okay, you're talking about NDC should make them permanent. Why didn't you make them permanent? Why you refuse to make them permanent? That is what you have to ask them, Because remember, their talking point was you can't bloat the public service. You can't make everybody permanent because look at what the IMF this and the World Bank this and the... You remember that? They were out there talking about that over and over and over again. So they were never genuine. NNP never genuine about making people permanent. No, they're not interested in that really. But they are outside. They lost the election. They are desperate. They want to come back into power. So they are grabbing on anything that they believe could get them there. But you see, because they have been in power for so long, people know them so well. The NDC is a young team. They're new. But the NNP, they have been there for 20-something years. So few people they could fool. They might be able to fool some of their supporters, but very few Grenadians they could actually fool into believing them and what they are saying. So I am saying, folks, NDC is in a very, very, very good place. Very, very good place. What we need to do is to continue defending the NDC party, defending the government, and promoting the party and the government. That is very important because remember, as a good friend was saying to me this morning, we know Kim. The NNP got a dose of shut mouth yesterday, but we know that they're not going to go to sleep and allow the NDC to peacefully govern and bring prosperity and bring betterment to our people. That is what that good friend told me this morning, and I think she's right. She's totally correct. Totally, totally correct. We have to continue to support the NDC because the NDC means well. We saw cricket, primary school cricket. That is back. The kids could play cricket again. We saw intercall and the other sporting events back. Remember, under the NNP, from the time they docked the salaries of the teachers, that was over. No extracurricular activities, nothing like that. The NDC was able to bring all that back, normalize the system. We saw NDC introduce a free education policy from pre-primary all the way up to secondary school. And in September, they're moving to TAMCC, free. Yeah. So no longer would your child be locked out or prevented from going to TAMCC or going to a secondary school because they don't have money to register or they don't have money to do X, Y, and Z. NDC has provided free access to every child to go from pre-primary all the way up to college. College will start in September. This September, the free access to college. And that's a big thing. They have reintroduced history in school. They have introduced TVET, the technical and vocational education training and so on in school. They've brought that back because not all the kids are, on the science side or the academic side, where it's just about biology, chemistry, physics, and so on. No, there are some kids or students who want to be a plumber, a joiner, a carpenter, a mason, an electrician, and so on. They could learn that. To sew, to cook, they could learn that. All right? And that's a good thing. Really, really good thing. I really love that. It's called TVET. They have reintroduced that. And I think it's a brilliant, brilliant idea. We see also the kids doing the exams online at the primary school level. The CPEA, they tried it with 3 schools and they were successful. So you'll be seeing that in more schools as we move along. There is the no paper policy. They're trying to remove the use of paper in the next couple of years. At least they have started the process. So they would save some trees or a lot of trees, helping the environment. This government is smart and they're thinking ahead. I love that. So things are happening. People are happier again. The roads, look at the condition of the roads. They're being fixed step by step, one road at a time. They're fixing the roads and they're doing a better job than before. And we all can attest to that because you drive on it every day. They're trying their best. Then you look at those medical stations. The NDC is focusing a lot on health care. You see what they have done in Wester Hall, the Wester Hall Medical Station. You see what they have done in Good Hope, the Good Hope Medical Station. You see what they have done in Victoria, the Victoria or St. Mark Medical Station or Polyclinic, whatever you want to call it. You see what they have done in some other areas, right? I'm just mentioning that 2 or 3 or 4, but they've done a similar thing in other areas. See what they've done in Carriacou, in the hospital there. And then they've identified the land for a climate smart teaching hospital facility. The nurses, you saw what they did for the nurses. They did not go in the diaspora and call the nurses thieves and so on. When a certain individual accused them of pilfering chicken and this and that. No, they did not do that. They apologized to the nurses and doctors and they gave them $500 more as an allowance, as an honorarium. That is what you call a government that cares. And then we saw the public officers who worked hard, who retired, and for many, many years, they got no pension, no gratuity. The NDC came in and they gave them their gratuity and they gave them their pension. They're happy. They're really, really happy. Trust me on that one. So we have seen a lot happening in this country, and that's just some. The focus on agriculture. Mangoes are exporting again to the United States, are being exported to to the United States. Mangoes, ginger, green banana, plantain, and so on. We found markets in Trinidad for that. So a lot is happening. The focus on agriculture, a lot is happening in that area. The CES, we saw $15.1 million given out to ordinary people to start their own little business, to expand their little business. That's a biggie. It's a big thing. We also saw $30 million of cost of living relief measures in the economy. In fact, yesterday, me and a friend was saying, electricity, your bill is looking really reasonable now because you're paying less VAT on it. So a lot is happening. The government is doing a lot. Look at the creatives. 100% concession. Come on, bring in your equipment, bring in your things, and do your work. We also see 100% concession or tax amnesty for all Grenadians. Once you owe taxes, you could go in and sort that out without paying the penalties and fees and all these different things. This is a government that cares, and hence the reason the Honorable Delma Thomas found her rightful home in the NDC administration. And more people are coming forward. More and more people want to be a part of the NDC. So a lot is happening for us in Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. And you see, these young men and women, they mean well. They want good for Grenada. And they're going the extra mile to achieve that. And I really love it. I love it. So I want to encourage you, do not lose hope, do not lose faith, defend the government, protect the good things that are happening. And may I say here, do not be fooled when these people, the NNP, out there, saying, well, the Prime Minister traveling often. Hello? Well, at least when he travels, we know where he's going and we know what he's traveling for. I remember when NNP was in power, Keith Mitchell used to travel very often, frequently. Yeah. But many a times we didn't even know. It's after we get to know. Yep. But at the end of the day, when our leader travels, he travels because he has a reason for doing so. And because it's about Grenada. That's the only reason why. He doesn't go on no dry ride. No. So they're out there pushing this falsehood. But all you need to do is to ask them, how many times did Keith Mitchell travel in the 20-something years? What is really happening? They're jealous. They're jealous of the fact that our Prime Minister is traveling and he's getting stuff for Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. That is why when it was the King's coronation, King Charles III, they were making a big hullabaloo as to why our Prime Minister didn't bring Keith Mitchell along with him. They were saying, well, he should bring him along. But our Prime Minister is not stupid. He would never bring that piece of thing along with him. No matter what. You're crazy? You know, it's like somebody come and they touch your plant. Or they say, well, can you give me a pepper? And you tell them, go and touch the pepper or pick it. And tutus the pepper tree dead. Or they go on your lime tree and they pick a lime and they just blight it, just dead. That is what you would get. So the Prime Minister, our Prime Minister is smart. He doesn't want Keith Mitchell around him. No matter what. Away. So they're jealous. That's what's going down. Jealousy. Because he's not traveling like before. He can't. Because he's so accustomed to escort and security and this and that, everything being made for him is jealousy, and let them deal with that. They can't deal with it. They cannot deal with the fact that our prime minister, when he goes out there, is just love. People happy. People welcoming him. They're embracing him. It's just niceness. Grenada is back. He's representing Grenada at the highest and with distinction. You don't see our prime minister when he goes out there. You know, or he doesn't really check it out. Huh? He's treated like, you know. Yeah. But they're jealous. Let them deal with that. When Keith Mitchell used to go, melee, bacchanal man, we no longer have that. We have somebody who is intelligent, who is brilliant, who can represent us with class. He's a classy individual. That is what we wanted. Not no old thing. No. These are different vibes. So let them deal with it. Let them remain there and complain and grind and groan. Jealous, they jealous. Folks, I want to say to you, we have a good thing going. And I want to welcome Sister Delma Thomas. She's my friend, long. And I will defend her anywhere, at any time. And when the others come along, I will defend them too. Because I know the politics requires you adding to what you have. It requires you making sure the people in the middle come on board with you. Because remember, Grenada is still polarized. You have NNP, you have NDC. And in the middle, you have some people, thousands of people in the middle. And once you're doing good stuff, once you're, on the right track, you're going to get them to support you. And that is what we have to push for, to make sure that our people remain with us and that we gain more people to join the team. That is what politics is all about. I want to thank the almost 1,300, and that's Facebook and YouTube, the people on both. I can actually see all the people who are online, who are viewing me now, who are watching the program now, like actual live. You sit down wherever you are, or wherever you are, you're viewing me, you're watching me, and you're listening to me. We have almost 1,300 people doing so right now. And that has been very consistent. They ain't going anywhere. There are some people, they come, they make a peep and a live, and they disappear. But the people who continue to listen to this program and follow what I do and what I'm saying, they are religiously there, right? So a friend is saying to me on Facebook, it's 1,100, right? So I'm talking about YouTube and Facebook together, because I'm streaming on those two platforms together. The radio will be back up and running by today, right? We had some problems in Carriacou with the internet in Carriacou, and also the power outage. We had a little problem in Grand Etang, but that will be rectified by today. So we should be on radio back up and running as usual. So if people call you and they say, "Oh, I came on the radio this morning," not the radio station in New York. I'm talking about the radio station in New York, Wild 106.3 FM. You'll be hearing me there. But the radio station here in Grenada, Carriacou, and Pichi-Matnik, you will not be hearing me there. Well, they did not hear me. They were not locked on from when I started to now, right? So again, with technology, those things do happen, but we have to keep doing what we have to do. We hope that by tonight, everything will be sorted out and everything will be back on track and we're going to be good to go. But we have a lot to accomplish together. Remember that this program is funded by people just like you. Wherever you are around the world, you keep this program going, and you can do that by simply sending me a WhatsApp message. You see what's scrolling on the live? Donate to this radio program. Call or WhatsApp 1473-415-4817. You can do that there. I'll send you the information. You can send your support to well, via Western Union and MoneyGram, these two sources. And I would give you the name and all the particulars so you can send it there. It's important that you support this program to keep it going, because without your support, we're nothing really. All right? We don't do ads and promos and them kind of stuff. It's about you giving to the program. All right? I want to also say there's some folks who pledge. That's last month or month end. They pledge their financial support and they have not fulfilled that as yet. If you know you have not done so, try to fulfill that pledge, because it's important. Because normally when we do the pledge, we stop where we meet our commitments. And if you're a part of the pledge, if you say yes, you're going to give X or you're going to give Y, then you're a part of that to pay the bills, to meet the commitments. And once you don't come up, once you don't give that, then we fall short of paying the bills. And there's quite a number of people who have not yet fulfilled that pledge. And it's a pledge. You see, it's not that they're compelled to give. It's a pledge. If you say you're gonna give, I kind of expect you to give. If not, if you can't make it, so be it, But at the end of the day, it's so important that you give financially to keep the program going. There are still some outstanding bills that we have to pay. And we are coming up to month end again. Right? So you see how it goes. So it's still important. When you pledge, fulfill it. Fulfill that pledge. But because of you, we keep this going. You give the little that you have to keep the program going. And I am eternally grateful and thankful to you for doing so. I encourage you to give the little that you have to keep the operation going. All right? So I wish you all the best. Have a wonderful day. I will be back with you tonight in the hub, starting from 8 in the PM. And we have a lot to discuss and talk about. Wow. I am, excuse me, I am extremely, extremely happy. I'm extremely happy with what is taking place. And you should be too. Folks, thank you very much for being a part of the program. I wish you all the best. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.
The proceeding was a paid program. The views expressed on this program are those of the host and guests of this program, and not the views